You know, it's like the more you get the treat, the more you return to that behavior. And I think the answer for me was to decide that I was okay with not getting the treat.
If you've ever posted a piece of your work online and felt unmoved, unsatisfied, and maybe a little bit like you need to go and get in the shower afterwards, then you're not alone.
You lied to yourself, but you ain't have the sauce to see it.
Please. Just let me in the light, old man.
In this video, I'm going to explore why we might be tempted into working solely for social media and lowering what we feel we actually deserve from our creative passion and journey, and what the real alternative path actually looks like and might offer us.
You get that prepared, now come in on one leg. Because what we want to see in life is someone find their balance in a scene. That's really where you see real life coming out.
I'm going to be talking quite a lot in this about my own experience, and I hope that that helps to open this discussion up and not suggest that I am in some way trying to dictate a specific truth here, but I'm instead just saying my opinion and again, my experiences.
Always remember that the reason that you initially started working was that there was something inside yourself that you felt that if you could manifest it in some way, you would understand more about yourself and how you coexist with the rest of society.
Now, just before we jump into the video here, I want to give a quick shout out to this week's sponsor and longtime friend of the channel, and that's Skillshare. Recently, I've been including quite a lot of my own piano journey on this channel, and I found Skillshare to be the perfect partner for my morning routine of drinking my first coffee in bed, warming up through a few scales, then jumping into one of those courses that's helping me move forward in a structured and consistent way. At the moment, there's a few different courses on Skillshare there that I'm jumping between, depending on my mood or what I'm looking to practice that day. But the main one that's forming the background of this learning is called Jazz Piano, the Ultimate Beginner's Course, and it just creates that really nice background for knowing that I'm moving forward in a structured way with my practice. I've said before that the main advantages for me of using Skillshare is the simplicity of not having to jump around to find solid, trustworthy tutorials, and the consistent structure of the material allowing me to feel really nourished and supported by those Skillshare classes. Whatever your own creative goals, when you join Skillshare, you'll have access to courses from animation to photography to graphic design and music, as well as their learning paths, where they gather a sequence of classes to give you a guided and tailored route on your learning journey. And the best thing about this partnership with Skillshare is that they offer me the ability to let this audience check out the platform for free. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So go get started and take a look. It's absolutely free. You can see what's on offer there, see if there's something that will suit your routine, suit your journey, and also taking part in that will help support the work that I'm doing on this channel. A huge thanks from me for anyone who follows through there. And yeah, with that said, back to the video.
Hi guys. I just wanted to let you know that tomorrow we are going to be deactivating our social media accounts, my social media accounts, and that is simply because I have so many other interests and other jobs I'm doing that require privacy and transparency, and I just wanted to say that I'm obviously continuing to make my spoken word albums and my records and still writing my short poetry books, and that I'm still very present and love what I do.
The first video clip I wanted to look at here is from Willem Dafoe. Here he brings attention to the energy that can be such a problem with social media and sharing our work in these controlled and curated ways.
The only advice that I give like young actors is don't do this to get that. Do this to do this. And that may sound really flat, prosaic, but I think it's very important, not only in acting, but in life. Don't get ahead of yourself. Lift the cup. Lift the cup. And in the lifting of the cup, something will happen to you. That's when beautiful moments happen in the theater. That's when beautiful things happen in the performance and film. Not about making choices and making clever things. It's really about the depth of giving over.
By focusing on the simple results of our work and thinking that we can control and know everything that's going to happen, our work isn't mirroring the deepest truths of real human experience. And this offering that social media kind of hands to us of sharing creative work without any real vulnerability involved is actually probably going to be something like the antithesis to making that art and taking those risks that are going to matter.
You know, actors talk a lot about, oh, it's good to have fear and it's good to have uncertainty. And that's true. After a while, you shake hands with that uncertainty and that not knowing and kind of embrace it, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's fun to think about, you know, roles that I thought I wasn't really right for, but I thought, well, give it a swing, you know?
The tool of social media is obviously a really useful one if we can contain it within specific bounds. But the story of this video starts when, through the activity of sharing our work online, we begin to create a gap between our real selves and the way we may express ourselves in real life and the image of the life, the work, or ourselves that exists online.
The balance between who you are when you're on and who you get to be when you're off is far harder to maintain when you're on all the time. Social media, trading, content is a reason to always be on. You can be on the whole time.
I think the answer for me was to decide that I was okay with not getting the treat, and that I would decide to stop pretending that I was like, you know, whatever part of me it was that was saying, okay, I need to appear this way.
I've constructed this identity. Let me just play it perfectly.
Yes, I'm going to play it perfectly. And so in the end, to decide to drop that completely and to just be honest about how I feel.
Now, trust me when I say I know the effect that falling into that trap can have on our creative work and how it can hold us back from actually moving towards the things that might bring us real satisfaction. When I was a kid, I liked to express myself through creative means, and because I was a young person, and obviously because it was the 90s too, I had a lot of opportunities to do that in real spaces and with real people. Through my teenage years, for many reasons that I won't go into too much here, but we could perhaps cite sustained low category drug use and the models of masculinity that were playing out around me. My ability or opportunity to share work in real spaces became pushed down. When I got into my 20s, social media now existed, and I started to use it as a place to put out videos I was making and music that I was making and share it with friends. Here we see the start of the perilous gap through which we disappear beginning to form. In the music and videos that I released, I would perhaps be expressing myself in ways that I wouldn't in real life necessarily. I was sharing some of my writing in real life through the studies that I was doing, but when I got into studying my MA in writing and there was quite a lot of presenting or readings to do, I was actually always shying away from that and unable to actually really overcome certain things and be able to express my work and put my nervous system into that more vulnerable state. Yet I wasn't able to necessarily do that. What I'm getting at here is that although social media had given me a space to distribute my work and also a kind of motivation to get it put out, to get it finished and put out, by creating a distance between my work and my real life, it actually began to hold me back, allowing a small part of me to feel that it was being satisfied by the sharing of that work, but actually not allowing the deep currents that were looking for connection through my creative expression, not allowing those to be satisfied in any real way at all.
And the truth is something that's hidden usually, because all our habits, all our politeness, all that niceness that you're talking about often hide, certain social conventions hide what's going on. And I kind of get repelled at the idea of, you know, you do a theater piece and you tell the audience something, you know. It's like you're superior, you have a superior understanding, or you've created a situation where you can tell something they haven't thought of. That's not usually the case. We got to jumpstart our sense of wonder and our sense of mystery. That's all. And if we
Here's another one from the fan people. Do you struggle with vulnerability in any way? I, Dan, this fan, often cringe when I hear overly soppy songs, and when I'm too real with my own music, I sometimes feel very uncomfortable. Is writing more fun or silly songs just what you enjoy, or is getting deep also strangely uncomfortable for you?
Well, we have a couple deep songs on our new record. When he sent over 1987, I was like, holy shit, it got me emotional. And I couldn't wait to record it because I just love the lyrics in it. It's just so fitting. It just brought me back to being in high school. Singing 1987 and Ain't Dead Yet is different.
To me, there's two parts of the creative process that I can find satisfaction or expression or healing through. The first is actually making the thing, and the second is sharing it if I'm able to in a real physical space. Obviously, I do love being able to connect the work that I do in these videos with people who watch them. But in terms of my creativity, all the joy that I'm getting from these is in the making of them. There's no great rush from posting them on that Sunday night. In fact, the feelings that I would align with that experience of, trying to, the kind of final sharing of the video is more one based in anxiety or insecurity, or not anything in terms of that kind of connection that you might get if you were to perhaps present something in a live way.
4 guys in a garage that had a good batch of songs. What would you tell them to do today?
Go play live. Just play live. I don't understand the industry. I don't understand where music is headed. I don't really understand technology. I just know that when you walk into a club and you see a band that blows you away, you are going to follow that band. And if you back that up with the idea that just playing those great songs in your great live band is enough reward for you, then you're fucking set.
In terms of the result of pumping a lot of our energy into putting our work out online and ignoring the importance of connecting in real physical spaces can leave us feeling unsatisfied, not getting a lot of value from what we're doing at the end of the day, and also start to build insecurities because the way that we're putting our work out is not natural, and it doesn't come with any of the kind of human connection and human community building and human support that's actually gonna push that work in positive directions and make us feel more secure in what we're doing. I invite disagreement if you like, but I think one of the goals, or at least effects, of social media is to close the accepted aperture of our experience and possibility, and to cultivate us to believe that this world of images and unreal is actually enough for us. A lot of my own creative heroes are from the 70s, and I wonder about Jimi Hendrix sitting in a room while everyone around him was staring down at their phones, uploading their work online. Apart from any kind of political or, statements along those lines, I think one of the overwhelming thoughts would just be how sad that experience is, or how much it lacks in anything real or satisfying that our creative work should be allowing us to bring forward. As I explained above, a lot of this deal that we're making with social media is kind of about us being able to share things without confronting any real vulnerability or fear.
I think it's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations. I think they generally produce their worst work when they do that. And the other thing I would say is that if you feel safe in the area that you're working in, you're not working in the right area. Always go a little further into the water than you feel you're capable of being in. Go a little bit out of your depth. And when you don't feel that your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting.
Now, I'm aware that this is probably sounding a bit like self-help now, and I'm also aware and also interested to hear. Sometimes when I make these videos, I know they connect with some people, but sometimes when I think, oh, are there quite a lot of people watching this thinking, yeah, I'm not actually as kind of perhaps insecure, or I'm not perhaps as, you know, quote unquote tortured in my creative process that you are. And if that is your experience of listening to some of the stuff on this channel, I would honestly be interested in hearing the perspective of that kind of less, perhaps what you could call neurotic, perhaps, approach. If your head is made up a bit like mine, or your experience is somehow mirroring a little bit of what I've discussed above, then there is a simple truth here.
Because I was scared to death. So then, can I just do it one more time, though? Can I just do it one more time?
That over time, your tendency to walk towards the discomfort or the fear is going to probably end up becoming a pretty large signifier for how satisfied you might feel with that part of your creative work.
I'll go for it. I try to pop the top in the first day, meaning because I'm nervous, I try to go out of my comfort zone and maybe do a take or two that bad.
Gone too far.
Go too far.
I see.
Because I find it much easier to come back.
Yeah.
Rather than going, did I ever get there?
Yeah.
I'm going to go too big.
Yeah.
Go over it.
Yeah.
Go way back. And that's it. What was that? Great. Well, now we.
Yeah.
Now we did the animated version.
Right.
Now let's do the real life version.
Yeah.
I find it much easier to come back there, and so I try to do that. That's a decompressor for me, and then I start to settle in. Bam, there it is. The simple one after you go too big is one that you go, there it was.
Yeah.
That was truth.
Yeah.
Bingo. We're good.
Yeah. And for you, it's still new because the big one.
And so we come full circle to the point that I wanted to make here, which is basically that although social media can be a tool for finding an audience, it needs to be contained and recognized for what it is. If we have a desire to connect to others through our work, then social media is not going to suffice. And those deep tides that endlessly wash you towards the shores of your creative practice and pull your mind to it are only going to be satisfied by engaging with your creative practice in the real world with real people. If a young artist of any sort really was to have two forking paths which they were able to take in 2025, one where they focused purely on social media and promotion and had a piece of work go viral, and the other where they were able to step through discomfort in real physical spaces and form community perhaps with a local group around their creative practice, then in my mind, in terms of the true value of that year, then it would be that latter experience that would be more valuable, and it would be that artist I would end up betting on long term and whose work would undoubtedly become more interesting over time. Right, with that said, I'll shut up for today, but as I say, I really am hoping that this opens some discussion, so I know that there'll be alternative viewpoints on this, and I imagine there's a lot of people who have had different kinds of experiences around this stuff too, so yeah, hoping to open some discussion in the comments around this. And yeah, with all that said, I'm going to put another video on the screen now, which kind of links to the idea of expressing ourselves in the real world and how we might better push ourselves to be able to do that. And with that said, see you next week and peace.